Welcome to episode number 55 of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beak at Tap. My man, Cousin Donnie, is back. How you doing, Cousin Donnie?
What's up, Jimbo? How are you feeling on this beautiful Sunday night of a pretty busy week in the softball world? It's going to be busier this week. It's been pretty cool. How are you doing?
You know, I've been absolutely on the go like you wouldn't believe. From Fox Lake to boating to doing it all this past week, hanging out with the kids. You pretty much name it, we did it this week, which was awesome. Josh Szymanski and his wife and his son, he joined us for a couple days, so we had a blast up there as well, flying all over the water, doing all sorts of cool stuff. So it was a lot of fun. How about you?
Things are good, man. Busy week. For us, not playing a ton of softball, was in Colorado traveling, and then we came back on Wednesday, and then we got a new dog on Friday, which is really cool. But excited about that. And look at Joel's already roasted me because I had to bail on our golf round on Saturday because our air conditioning went out, and we've been sweating profusely in our home, which sucks, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I do need some help from the softball community, I will say, Jim.
Okay.
While we wait for Pat Moran, our wonderful guest tonight, to be on the show, I need some help from the softball community and the fans of the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show to pick out a name for my dog. Okay.
Oh.
I got 5 potential names here. Go ahead.
Before you start, that is the first step to having a real kid. You know that,
correct.
Right?
I've heard that once you get a dog, it's pretty much all over for your free time, and then once the kid comes, it's even worse. So,
yes.
I'm glad that
so
I'm glad
trying to lock your ass down immediately.
Yeah.
And say no more Cousin Donnie in the softball world. So you better lay that footprint now and tell her.
I know that you were given some marital advice in the last show about how to keep your lady happy 20 years into marriage. I think you're still doing all right.
Let's not get crazy. I mean, I think my wife would say different.
She absolutely would. It's a boy dog. All right, here's a couple of the names that I have so far. Okay, the first one, Mahoney. We have Mickey Balestri III. Okay. We have Circus, but the dog would just run around a lot, and then I would have to have Q come and catch it. And then
what about Gio?
Gio's not in the names.
No.
The next one is George Bliss. Okay, so those are a couple, and then the last one I have is Bark Manzella. So,
what? Why? How come those sell after your coach?
I don't want to seem like a kiss ass too bad, so I gotta keep it fun. But Mahoney's in there. That's hilarious to me to name him after that guy. Early favorites are Mickey Balestri III and George Bliss.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Mickey Balestri III is the name I think would be incredible.
That's good, isn't it?
You know, that is pretty good. And I think old Mick would love it more than little Mick.
Correct. Because there is
right?
no Mickey Lester the third because he had 2 girls.
Right. So
there we go.
There you go. Big Mick's in the house. There you go. So
how about Bark Manzella? Is that clever? Bark Manzella instead of Mike?
Yeah, I think that's a great name. You know,
Thank you.
That's an incredible name.
Thank you.
I wish you the George Bliss one is even more incredible.
It's funny. Thank you. I've been working.
That's very clever of you, cousin Donnie. Very clever.
Appreciate it.
I like that.
That's awesome. Pat. I'm glad you're
good.
Pat Moran is in the group.
Let me throw some shouts out really quick, and we'll get on to your dog naming contest that you want to have. Joel Anthony, thank you for joining the show. Joe, obviously, Kathy Moran, welcome to the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie show. I know we have Mickey Balestri on as well. So those are the only names I can see at the moment. I know we have about 47 people watching, but right now I don't know what sites they're on. You know, obviously that number will uptick as we continue to move forward. So let's get back to your dog naming ability here. And then I know we have Pat Moran. You know, he's going to be joining us tonight. So back to your dog. What was the name of your dog, and what kind of dog is it? There's been a lot of chatter in the box about girl, boy. What is it?
So it's a boy. His name when we adopted him was Lone Star, which is a cool name, but it just doesn't have the ring that we want, right? So it's a lab mix. He's a whole lot to deal with, but he's a young guy and he'll learn. I have no idea how to train a dog at all, Jim. It was on a whim. We just went and did it. So, but if you guys have clever names, put them in the chat because I really appreciate it. Mick Balestri likes the name Shanks, but that's tough. I don't want to put that in the air when I'm out golfing. I don't need that negative conscience. I think that'll be tough. Star is okay. Like Lone Star is a cool name. I think that's cool. I don't know what Timmy Kornkowski knows, but I want to give a couple shout outs before we get into Pat Moran's interview quick, Jimmy.
Yeah.
There was a co-ed tournament this weekend. And
why don't you give us the rundown? I know there was a lot of action on this weekend. I know you did your homework on this, so why don't we hop into it and get out there?
We have there was the co-ed tournament that's run by Brian Kornkowski out there in Armour Park, and Chris Harris put together a squad that ended up winning. I know they had some guys from a High Y, the dog of the pitcher on signature. That's good. We had some guys from High Y on that with some good girls that ended up winning that tournament, which is awesome. I love that Chippy puts that together every year for that co-ed and that cool field over there. There was a B tournament this weekend.
Well, hold on a second. Before you get to the B tournament, I had a special message sent to my phone. I don't know how good you could see it, but
who is it?
Hold on.
We can't really see it.
Let me turn the volume up.
Hey, Robbie, you bitch.
Can you see it or no?
It was a little blurry. Nope, it's a little blurry, not focused. That's okay. We didn't. Oh, there you go. Press play now.
Hey, Robbie, you bitch.
So I know that Chris Harris and Robbie Grisano, they usually have the two best co-ed teams at this tournament, and this year Chris Harris got the best of Robbie. So I wanted to play the special message, the delivery message to our boy Robbie. So I think it's only right.
I will say, Chris is a big fan of the show too, so he's going to watch that. I want him to know, and he asked me to go on and talk about co-ed, and I said we'd have him on. So we don't want. But this isn't an insult to Chris.
I wanted to call out because I think Robbie needs to hear that, right? Good for Chris. Good for Chris. So
those are his words exactly.
But Chris's team did win the co-ed tournament.
Correct.
Let's not make a joke because it is an incredible thing that they do for Dennis.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to meet Dennis while he was alive. I think it's an awesome thing what Chippy does in his honor. with the scholarships. And this year, I believe they had a recipient of the scholarship. They had people write in. I did watch Chippy's little announcement before the tournament. So just want to give a shout out to Chippy. I know we tried to get a hold of him tonight to come on really quick to give us a little rundown of that. But kudos to Chippy and what he does and what he did for that tournament. It's an awesome thing, and it seems to be growing every single year. So it's definitely awesome.
We just want to point out that Chippy did not answer either of us when we asked him to come on the show tonight. So he ghosted both of us. He's probably working at the firehouse, or he's taking videos of his girlfriend, posting them on Instagram. Either way, I'm happy for him, and I'm happy that he's happy. So
Yeah.
there was a beat
doesn't change what he does for that tournament.
Correct.
The work that that they put in getting the teams, and I'm sure he's got help. I don't know the help that who's helping him behind the scenes, but kudos to Chippy and all the people that help him to run that tournament. I hear nothing but good things. So it's an incredible thing what they're doing. So thank you.
Yes, sir. I agree with you 100%. Is that all you got on that one?
That's it.
Okay. We had it looked like it was out at where was that tournament? At Oak Lawn this weekend? I think maybe it was in Oak Lawn. There was the Lewis Bo Blanchard Memorial Softball Tournament.
I think that was not in Oak Lawn. It was somewhere else. The ASA A or B National or
you're
A
right.
or B 4th of July Firecracker was in Oak Lawn. I don't know where the bow was. It was somewhere on the south side.
Okay. Country Club Hills Park District. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we had the Wolfpack went clean and won that tournament. There's some guys that we recognize from those teams. My guy Mel is a champion, so that was pretty cool. Congrats to those guys going clean. They beat OBOS in the championship game, and we had Brandon Irving MVP.
Oh, nice! Shout out to them. Who else was in the tournament besides Obos and them? We're not really sure, huh?
I'm not 100%. I didn't see like a bracket or anything. I didn't know a ton about the tournament. I just saw that they won and they beat OBOS. If anybody has,
once again, another memorial, another tournament in honor of somebody, which is what we love to see. Only helps grow the game. Doesn't hurt it one bit. So kudos to those individuals who put that tournament on as well this weekend.
Yep, I agree with you. That's what I've got for the opening of the show. If you want to head and grab Pat Moran and bring him on in, I think he's ready for it.
We're gonna before we do that, we had Crush win the ASA National ASA Firecracker over in Oak Lawn this weekend. I don't know if Tom Omalley's going to join us tonight. If he does, we'll get in more depth on that as well. That is the tournament that Dave Padilla runs over the 4th of July weekend every single year. So you feel like you had a really good turnout. I know the Crush team beat CJ and Oops and those guys in the so. And that leads a
good team as well.
Yeah, and that leads us into Mr. Pat Moran, right? So Pat is the individual who runs the Terry Moran tournament. It's been around for 30 years plus. So I know he's in the chat. I want to bring him on before he gets too drunk, right? So we're going to go on get him, bring him in live here. We'll see what he's doing. Put down the beer there, Pat.
On cue, my man. On cue. Let's go.
Let's go. How are you, buddy?
What do you got there?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing?
Good. Just, trying to carry Donnie along like we always are. But
I was enjoying the dog naming combo, though.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah. He comes up with some good stuff once in a while. What can I say?
Yeah, I was waiting for like a big fall or something to get thrown in there or something, but
No. He comes up. No. He came up with the George Bliss one, which was pretty clever. I didn't think he'd go with George Bliss.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you giving me some credit once in a while, even though everybody thinks you hate me. That's okay. What do you drink on Pat? What do you got? Is that champagne or what?
No, I'm a big hazy IPA guy. So I can do the light stuff for a full day of drinking, but if I'm just gonna come back and have one, this is a nice hazy. It's usually my go-to.
There you go. Very, very adult, my friend.
I try to act it, every now and then.
Right. Thank you for joining us on the show. I know I've got a big tournament on Saturday that you put together. Jimmy, why don't you get them started? I know we've got a bunch of questions for Pat tonight.
Yeah, Pat. Every week we have a guest we bring on, and we thought that this week there's a lot of cool things going on. We have the Papa Hops, we have the charity tournament for the White Sox, and then we end the weekend with you guys for the Terry Moran. Terry Moran, I know, is good to your heart. I know you love it. You put a lot of support into it. It's been around for 30 plus years. But why don't you go ahead and give the audience a little bit of background about yourself, and then kind of some background about the tournament, how it started, and kind of what it's about for those that do watch the show that maybe have never heard of the tournament, or just for those new people that are not a part of softball that do watch our show. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jimmy. My name is Pat Moran. So as far as like who do I play for, stuff like that, I actually run a team called Diesels. We're an A team, like a pretty young, upcoming A team. We've played in a bunch of park leagues for a while, and then now we're really kind of joining like the big A tournament game. We did Cinco de Mayo this year. And then we did the No Glove A's, the Eggs tournament in Schaumburg a couple weeks ago. So that's who I play for. I've been like a fourth outfielder, pinch runner for some other teams in the past. I was with Meatball City a bit last year. I've been with Traffic, Saga, stuff like that. So I've been around the game for a while. But that's who I currently play for. So as far as the history of the tournament goes, so my dad, Terry Moran, was a big 16-inch softball player. He's in the Hall of Fame. So he used to play for Taggers, 45s, Meadows, Coopers, Panthers, and then some. So in January of 1995, he was driving up to Madison, Wisconsin for work, and his car hit a patch of black ice, and he passed away in a car accident. So my family wanted to come up with something to honor him, so my mom's brother, Frank Fiorito, took the initiative to start the softball tournament. And then my dad's brothers, Billy and Steve Moran, they were like, well, let's do more, let's start some sort of a festival. So my uncle Steve kind of ran the festival side of it. My uncle Billy was in charge of the t-shirts, and they didn't really know what they were getting themselves into. Now this is all before like I can remember anything. I was just 18 months old at the time. But they kind of just started getting donations coming in. Vienna Beef was donating hot dogs. Rosati's was donating pizzas. And it just turned into this big full-on festival. So we had a beer garden, we had food, drink, stuff for kids. And then it kind of just blew up. So it's just kind of turned into like the place to be in the Northwest suburbs. And it was really like just a big hit. I think our peak was early 2000s, like 2002, 2003. We reached 47 teams one year. Now that's like a couple divisions combined. They had a couple men's divisions. They had a co-ed, but 47 teams, and it was all in one day. So this thing was pretty big back in the day. And then over time, it kind of just became more challenging for my family to run. All proceeds from this event used to go to juvenile diabetes. My cousin and my dad's godson, he had diabetes, so this used to be a pretty big fundraiser for that. But when the economy kind of started to worsen, just companies became less generous with their donations, and teams would more so like bring their own drinks and stuff out. And then kind of the last couple of years, my family was just kind of breaking even. So then the Rolling Meadows Park District stepped in and said, hey, we'll gladly help you guys out with this, but we're just going to do the softball tournament. And that happened in 2013. So the past 10 years, it's just been the softball tournament. And we've been kind of consistently about like 12-ish teams every year. And that's been me stepping in and working with whoever's in charge of athletics with the Park District, which changed quite a bit, just to make sure this thing keeps going. Growing up, this was like my favorite day of the year, and it was like my dream to play in it. And then I finally got enough to play in it, and then it kind of started regressing a little bit. So for me, I was like, all right, like I kind of like owe it to my dad to just keep this thing going. We've been around 12 teams, like I've said. And then one last thing I just want to add is it's kind of a cool story. So my uncle Steve that used to run the festival, he had this vision roughly like 10-ish years ago that he wanted to make it big again for the 25th. So this was after the park district took over and it was just a tournament. He's like, Pat, let's bring the festival back. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And then my uncle Steve unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer. And then he ended up passing away right before the 24th one. So he passed away. Obviously, we didn't go through with the 25th, but then I was like, as I got a little bit older, I'm like, all right, like I want to make his vision come true for like the 30th. So I gave myself some time to get some things in order. And this year, we're bringing back the fundraiser aspect of it. So all the money that we're going to raise from selling these shirts, actually, and just some other things we got going on. All that money is going to go to liver and bile duct cancer, specifically the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, my uncle Steve's day.
That's fantastic.
That's good. Fantastic, man. Losing your father and uncle and people in your life. I lost my father. It's never a good moment, and I know you were quite young, obviously, when you lost your father. So it's an awesome thing. I'm sure he'd be proud of you bringing it back. How many teams did you get this year?
So we got 19 men's teams, which I'm pretty happy with that. That's the most we've had in, I think, close to 20 years now. So really proud of that. A few people asked me if we could bring back a 50 and over division and co-ed, and we tried. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough teams to run those divisions, which a little disappointed with that, but overall really happy with the 19 teams. You guys know from playing and stuff, man, like running a one-day tournament and getting a lot of teams out, especially in the middle of July when there's Papa Hops going on, you're a couple weeks out from Forest Park. Like, it's tough, but it was really, really important to me to try and get a bigger turnout this year. And 19 teams, we're pretty happy with that.
You're 7 up from last year, so that's a huge increase, man. So
totally. And the quality of teams too, they're good.
What can you kind of testament that to in terms of getting more teams out there this year? I know it's the 30th and you've got some bigger payouts, and I was looking, we're doing, t-shirts and live music, all that kind of stuff. Is that a big part of why some more teams are joining? What was the big draw for this year compared to last year?
Sure. I think it's some of the stuff you just said. So this thing, like as I mentioned earlier, used to really be bigger, and we used to call it the Terry Moran Softball Tournament and Family Day. And I brought that Family Day aspect back this year. So we're really excited that we're going to have some stuff for kids. Some pretty cool stuff, actually. And that's going to be going on from like 10 to like 3 o'clock or so. So I know talking with people with kids, that's helped a lot. Just made it a little bit of an easier sell to the significant others, like, hey, there's stuff to do with the kids. So I know that has helped. And then this will be the first time in a while that we're going to have food out there. Reps Place, which is a great sports bar in Rolling Meadows. We did the draw there tonight, actually. They're gonna have food out there all day, and then we're gonna be selling drinks as well. So I think it's like kind of a combination of things that are getting people excited. And then I do think the fact that it is like the big milestone for us, the 30th one, people just seem excited about that, which I like.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we definitely love the fact that your tournament's growing again, right? I mean, that's what we want. That's why Donnie and I do these shows. We want to grow our game, and people like yourself who contribute to the game, put their time and effort in the game, is what we love. So thank you, man, for doing what you do. You mentioned 19 teams. You mentioned a draw. Is there any way we can disclose that draw right now?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So you want me to go matchup by matchup, or what are you guys feeling?
Let's do it, man. Let's do times matchup. What we got going on?
So I got the bracket here in front of me. So a lot of good teams. Some teams are playing under like different names just because of like sponsors and stuff. But I kind of have the lowdown on who's who. So
we can help you with that too.
Yeah, of course. So we've got draft picks, which is a young team. They're playing a team called Buzz, which if you guys know George Barris, that'll be his team with some family. Yep. The winner of that feeds into Monson Rose Law, which is Phil Coppersmith's team.
Okay.
He'll have, who knows what Phil will have. He'll have some good guys. I know he's got some family coming out. And then right below them in the bracket will be a Cinco de Mayo rematch, actually. It's going to be Whale against my team, the Diesels. They took it to us at Cinco de Mayo. So this will be a nice revenge game for us. Below that, we've got Matty Dozen's team, Guaranteed Rate, against Green Onions, which I know is a lot of the old traffic guys. Below that, we've got Big Chillin', which is going to be a lot of the future guys. And they're going to play a team called Ride the Lightning. That team is going to be a lot of there's a good Park League team called the Slobs. I wish they would do some A tournaments, man. They're good. So Jack Langwer from used to be 45, now he's on Dynasty. He plays with these guys as well. They'll be a really solid team. So that'll be a nice first round matchup there. Now we're in like the bottom portion of the bracket. Hardway, they're going to play a team called Greasers. Greasers is a regular team. They're in this tournament every year, and then Hardway is kind of starting to make a name for themselves as well. Jimmy DeVito runs Hardway. Angelo will be out there pitching for them. The winner of that game feeds into Eskimo Brothers, which that's Dan Atkins' team. I know it's a lot of the Iron guys. Yeah. And then right below that, go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
No, I'm playing with Stars and Stripes. Jeff Batel and our guys. Okay.
I'm playing with Matty Dozen's team. I think I'm going to be out there with Matty.
Nice. Yeah, the Guaranteed Rate, he usually puts a good team together. I know that he's got a lot of contacts. So Matty puts a nice team in this tournament.
I think my team's like 0 for 11 all time against Matt Dozen in this tournament. I love Matty. I hope he's watching. He's one of my favorite guys. But it's like a running joke of like, hey man, hope to see you at my dad's tournament, just not on the diamond. Like we just always lose. It's always a good game, and they just take it to us. But yeah, so then right below that little section, arguably the best first round matchup, you got a team called Fibs, and that's Mikey Marola's team. He always puts together a solid team. They're playing Bad Attitude, which is JP's team. That'll be a really good first round matchup there. And then our last play-in game is going to be, they're called JML Overhead Door, which is going to be Sauce. JML Overhead Door is just their sponsor, and they're playing the Lemons, and they're going to be pretty good. They made a great run in the tournament last year. They lost early, and then they came all the way back, and they took 38s to the if game. But I know there's going to be a lot of really good players on the Lemons, so that should be a pretty fun playing game. The winner of that gets your team, Donnie, Stars and Stripes, which they will have a nice team as well. Then last but not least, our last first round game, we have a new team which we're excited about called Morton Grove Mafia. And they're going to be playing 30-38s.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, 38s defending champs. They have some momentum right now. Yeah, they're good.
Really good teams in this tournament.
Oh, totally. So I'm pumped about the quantity with 19 teams, but it's pretty good teams across the board as well. So that's how it's been the past couple of years. I know we've only had 12-ish teams, but it's the quality's been really good. And you guys were out there last year, both of you saw once you got to that final 6, anybody could be anybody in those games,
I'm gonna put the hex on Stars and Stripes. I'm gonna pick Stars and Stripes to win it all.
What time do we play, Pat?
You guys are at 9:00. So we just did
Beautiful.
We did the first we did the play-ins in the first round, and then I'm gonna head over to the Park District tomorrow, and we're gonna do the full bracket with everything. We just wanted to let everybody know who they were playing and what time for the first game. So I know I've been getting a lot of questions of when's the full bracket coming out.
Yes.
That'll be out probably around noon tomorrow.
Perfect. I think Donnie was saying they wanted to play at 7 a.m. So move them up to 7 a.m.
I think Jimmy after Papa Hops wants to play at the 6:30 slot. You have that open for him?
PM.
Yeah, right.
I know 38s are playing at 8:00, and Julian was giving me a hard time earlier. But
well, he's not He's not playing Papa Hops, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Yeah. He'll be out there watching us, so don't worry about it.
Oh man, Pat, I had to do some digging on you just because I met you maybe a year or two ago. We talked a lot. Leading up to Papa Hops, the QR code was awesome that you kind of talked with me and just how are these old people going to work a QR code on a text message? But they figured it out.
We made it work. 19 people figured it out apparently.
Right. But I did some digging. Okay. And I asked around, can I get some dirt on Pat Moran?
Love it.
One of your favorite guys, Luke Gimler, he's in the chat talking about your tournament. He helps you run diesel. He said you golf with 2 gloves on. Is this true?
Oh boy, yeah, this is true. Yeah, I'm in fact, some people call me Patty 2 Gloves. I golf with 2 gloves.
2 gloves.
One time, I was golfing.
You're like Nate Mercado.
I had a blister on my non-glove hand. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get another glove for it. And then once the blister went away, I took the glove off and it just didn't feel right. And then, 2 gloves ever since. Yeah, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But, it's just, it's part of what makes me, I guess,
So yeah, sure. You can cut that out, by the way. You don't have to play with 2 gloves. It's going to be okay.
So let's talk really quick about Luke. So since Luke is ripping on you, let's rip on Luke.
Oh,
Tell me one bad thing about Luke.
One bad thing about Luke. Luke's my guy, man. Luke's my guy. If Donnie was asking him for dirt and that's all he said was two golf gloves, we can live with that. No, Luke's my guy, man. We went to middle school together, went to high school together. Great guy. He's one of those guys that everybody knows. Biggest drinker in the park usually. We'll go with that. No, my only knock on Luke, and he'll laugh when he sees this, is we put him in pinch hit against the fat kids. It was bases loaded, 1 out. I was on 3rd winning run. This was in the No Glove A tournament. And, I've seen Luke hit a lot of fly balls to right field in our 12 years of playing together. So I had all the confidence in the world that he would do it. And he did. I just wish he hit it maybe 10 feet further because I had to go in head first at home and it was a play at the plate and a little bit closer than it needed to be. But that's about as deep as I'll go with Luke there. But no, he's a great guy. And he'll play with me in this tournament forever. We go way back.
Cool.
Nice. So you must really like Luke.
Yeah. I mean, we're friends since we were 13. Great guy. And he everybody knows Luke.
All right. Donnie, hop into your next question, my man.
He's a fine guy. Before you had this diesel team that you take a lot of pride in, and congrats on all the success at A Nationals. You used to run a team called Shake and Bake. Is this true?
We are still around. Technically, we play the jersey there. Actually, that's a Shake and Bake jersey right there. Authentic game used vet ran Shake and Bake jersey. Yeah.
If that's the jersey that you brought for the segment, you can show it now. We always ask our guests to bring their favorite jersey. But look
at this guy. You're making this guy work on his tournament week. What's wrong with you?
He's working a lot.
I will gladly work here. So this is let's see if I can get this here.
Ooh, little shake.
Nice. It's a little Boomba. Got little names on the back.
Oh, look at you.
Little shamrock on the sleeve there. Yeah. Shamrock, it just kind of went with the color scheme. I don't know. No So Shake and Bake started, back when me and Gimler started playing Palatine Park District. We were 17, 18. And then, it's a lot of my Diesels guys. So it's basically the Diesels guys plus Ian from Meatball City. And then Julian Russell's been playing with us this year. Just in Mondays and Displays.
I heard he's a major player now. He doesn't like it.
I think ever since that post, he's been playing with us every week. I think he's really trying to make a statement that he's all right, this is an A league. I want in. But Shake and Bake is the first team I ran. And then we just stuck with the name on Mondays and Displays. But then for tournaments, we make sure we use the name Diesel so people know who we are.
So My next question for you.
Sure.
Goes back into the tournament and kind of. I know you've kind of taken it over now. You're doing a lot of cool things. You're improving it again, making it what it was. What makes you the most excited about the day now? Now that you're kind of in charge, what makes you most excited about the day with players, families?
Mhm.
What is it?
It's a great question. It's really cool for me throughout the day, like seeing people just enjoy themselves. Like I know that seems kind of like silly or cliche, but it's like kind of a unique tournament in regard to a lot of the other tournaments out there. Like you've got all your SSA tournaments, your ASA tournaments, right? This is kind of like neither. It's like a park league tournament with, I would say, a lot of the best players in softball out there.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of makes a lot of people like appreciate like why we play softball or like why
Right.
we kind of do what we do. It's like people get knocked out and like you just kind of hang out with your boys and your family and like, have some beers, play some bags, eat some food, whatever, and like just enjoy the day, enjoy everybody's company. And as I've gotten a bit older, and I've gotten a lot more involved, as you mentioned, it's cool to like just kind of see everybody have such a just kind of genuine good time and just know that like you put it together, but also just know
Right.
that like my dad's up there hopefully really happy to see this. And that's just kind of what it's all about, is just keeping his name alive in a positive way in the softball world, and then just kind of bringing people together. It's been really cool too. I try to like interact with as many people as possible this day. I know a lot of people now from playing myself, but like every year, I swear I meet like 5 to 10 more people that like, we've seen each other, but never actually like met. Like Julian Russell's one of those guys, actually. We'd seen each other a bunch. I never met him until last year. And then now like we play together, it's just a lot of those relationships get formed. And like, to me, it's just really special to see everybody have a good time and know that like, my family and I are the reason for that. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
It makes you kind of feel like Pops is there in the park, and I think that's what's cool about it. I think that is something that you and your family will always enjoy as long as you guys run this tournament moving forward. So thank you to you and your family for doing it. I know I always hear great things from a lot of the players. It's just kind of a fun day, a relaxed day. Yeah, the games get competitive, but at the same time, a lot of the players are having a good time, and it's not always as serious as some of the or major tournament events that a lot of these guys play. So,
totally
awesome thing. So,
thank you.
Really quick before we get to our next question, I just want to say thank you to all the viewers for joining the Uncle Jimmy and the Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap. For those viewers out there, please get on our Facebook page. Continue to grow the game. Continue to grow everything about softball, not just us, but grow this game. Click on the three dots, click it on invite your friends and select all. You could invite up to 1,000 people a day. So, not only does it help our game, helps obviously us grow the page, it helps everything about what this show and everything's all about. So thank you, Pat, obviously Moran, for joining us tonight. I know Donnie, we have some people in the chat right now. We said Luke is usually the biggest drinker in the park. Pop says that Luke is, I'm going to bring it on the screen here, is the coolest guy ever. We mentioned JP earlier. He's replying to Luke, or I'm sorry, she's saying she'll drink to that. Oh, JP, there's JP. The Splains underrated league. You brought up the Desplains League, so
good.
Obviously some things back on that. And then here's Luke again saying Papa Hobbs back-to-back Moran is a huge weekend for softball, all good causes. 100%. You also have the Nicky Lopez charity tournament on Thursday as well. So they have really thrown in a triple header, and I'm fortunate enough I'll be in all three of those tournaments this weekend. So
Awesome.
the good thing is I haven't swung a bat in 2 weeks, so I'm well rested. So it's a good thing.
Tom Omalley is trying to get into the room, Jim. If you want to send him that text with the link really quick, if you can do it on your phone. What were you going to say, Pat?
Just something else that I thought I would share is I've learned over the years, like you just pick up on stuff, and July can be tough. Like with Papa Hops, but then Forest Park, what I've learned is just from getting feedback from like the guys, because I'm very open to feedback. So if you're watching this and you're out there next Saturday and you have something to share with me, please, like I want to keep this thing going. So just please give me whatever feedback you have, positive, negative, whatever. But I've learned that having my dad's tournament 2 weekends before Forest Park is a must. There's been, years when there's only 4 weekends in July, and like I'll try to like just do it the weekend before, and like I totally get it. The guys don't want to play the weekend before Forest Park. It's either they just can't do it with the family back to back. They don't want to risk the injury. So a lot of times our tournament does fall on the same weekend as Papa Hops, but it's just kind of something that like pick your poison, I guess. But I've learned that that's like a must with just getting people out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's and like you said, and Pops just mentioned, July is the best month of softball just because of the tournaments and charity things that go on in the month of July, and then the last weekend everybody hates each other for 4 days in a row if you're on a different team. But just like you said, I mean it's so nice that you're open to feedback like that. I mean that's something that I think is struggling in the game, is people don't take feedback that well, right? So you're taking feedback and kind of running with what you're told. I mean, you're a younger guy, you run your own tournament. That's super rare already. I mean, that to me is amazing in itself. So for you to be able to take the feedback, heck yeah, dude, to take the feedback is really cool. I've got another question for you. I will say an unnamed source told me about this one. So he said you may or may not remember.
Big Donnie, huh?
I did. I feel like yeah, I did. I went back in your life a little bit. So this person said, used to play with you in this tournament, and it was co-ed, okay? And the women on your team used to get a little bit intoxicated to the point where they physically could not play softball anymore and would pass out in the lawn. Do you know this individual who I'm talking about? He also played outfield with you in one situation. You called him off for a fly ball and dropped it, and then he picked it up and threw the person out at home.
Oh, that's Mike Marola. Mike Marola, yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
I'll never
right.
forget that throw. Yeah, that was one of the best throws I've ever seen.
He said he looked at you like he wanted to kill you.
He did, yeah. Me and Mike are tight, real tight, and yeah, that was a look that I never had gotten from him before, and I hope I don't get it again. Yeah, I didn't get it from the first part of that, but once he said the drop fly ball, yeah, it's Mikey.
Yeah.
He just corrected me. He corrected me with a text message that said, not on your team, but women in the tournament in general used to get obliterated in this tournament. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
How fun was that?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's been a while now, but yeah, that was a thing for sure. That was a thing. But yeah, we're hoping we were gonna get some of that back this year. But like I said, unfortunately, the co-ed didn't fill. But hopefully, a lot of them come out here still and hang out and have a good time.
So for those, I know you mentioned a lot of things about this weekend. You mentioned what you're most excited about. But for those people that are watching the show that have never been to your tournament, can you explain like why they should show up, other than obviously it's a great cause, but like what is the park like? Explain what's going to be out there. Is there a park for kids? I know you mentioned there's going to be food this year. Are you guys serving alcohol? A lot of key components when it comes to softball. So why don't you go ahead and share some of those things?
Yeah, so we're using 4 parks total. 3 of them, like 2 of them are back to back, kind of like Forest Park style or Melrose. There's another nice field that's just like 3-5 minute walk, and then there's another field a few minutes away. So those are the 4 fields. By like the main fields, we're gonna have food. It's a restaurant that's using a food truck called Reps. They'll have food. They're gonna fire that up around like 10:30 in the morning, and they'll be there all night. And then they'll be serving beer and drinks and stuff. And then let's see what else we got. Yeah, we're gonna have stuff from kids going on from like 10 to 3. We got some inflatables, like a moon bounce. There's gonna be an obstacle course, inflatable water slide. There's 2 playgrounds in the area. I know Jimmy, you asked if there's gonna be any parks there.
Right.
So there's a school right there, so they got their own playground, and then the park district has a park as well. So even when the kids stuff ends, there's still stuff for kids to do.
I'm gonna ask you one favor.
Yeah.
Put Maddie Dozen's team close to a park.
we can do that. We can do that.
The little Moretti boys are gonna be running all over the place, and at least got to know where.
Absolutely. So now there's going to be plenty of things for the kids to do. There's a big pavilion with a bunch of picnic tables. And then this year, and this will be kind of new, we got a couple big tents with tables and chairs as well. Since we've got food this year, there's going to be plenty of areas for people to sit and eat and drink. And then we've got some like standing tables as well. People just want to lean, have a beer, listen to the music. So yeah, we're going to be selling t-shirts. We're going to be selling some bucket hats. Pops, I see you in the chat. I expect you to get a bucket hat. And then there'll be music starting about 3:00. So when the kids stuff ends, the music will be starting. And then there should just be a lot of people hanging out, which is nice. That's one of my favorite things about this is like those last couple hours is like when teams are getting knocked out, everything kind of funnels to like the main field. For those of you that have never been, or a lot of you have been, but maybe you haven't noticed this, there's actually a memorial tree for my dad that's right behind the main backstop of the main field. So it's just kind of nice too, as this day is going on and stuff. I can look and see his tree. There's a nice plaque that says which tree it is as well. So if you happen to see that, it's kind of a nice thing to observe as well. A couple years ago, one of the teams, I thought it was neat. It was a good program. When they were like still a team, they won it one year, and it was pretty neat. After they won it, they went over as a team and they did like a toast by my dad's tree. I thought that was like pretty cool. I mean, they're a bunch of classy guys besides Mandarino.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
No, they're good guys, but it's just it's a cool vibe. It's a cool setup. The setup this year should be pretty good with the food and drink and stuff too. But yeah, it's just gonna be nice that people get knocked out and it's not like everybody just leaves. It's gonna be a lot of people hanging out, friends, family, and it should be a really good day.
So Pops says the walks suck. That's another thing Uncle Jimmy doesn't like to do is walk. So make sure we plan on too, all right? So I'll throw that out.
We'll see what we can do, Jimmy.
Asking for some favors here, all right? Not much, okay? Not much.
So he's just put you on a show, Pat, to make some favors about his team. It's pretty much all it's
I'm learning things real quick,
yeah, how it is. Sorry, Pat.
I've only got one more question for you, Pat, regarding the tournament, man. I know we talked a little bit about you and your backstory. Actually, wait, really quick. Sean Temple says, Pat, heard you were doing a case per team for the tournament from a close source. Can you confirm?
No. So for those that don't know Sean Temple, this is a great opportunity for you to learn. Whatever Sean says, it's the opposite.
Okay.
So Sean, in this case, is actually providing a case. I'm so glad he brought this up. Thanks, Sean. He's providing a case for everybody. So it was very nice of him. He offered that the other day. If you see Sean Temple, he will be providing a case.
So
he likes hazy
IPAs
IPAs as well. So you could probably convince him to get you some hazy IPAs as well. Yeah.
Some hazy IPAs. Yeah. My last question.
I like it, Pat.
Who was your favorite, besides your own team, of course, who was your favorite to win this weekend in your tournament?
That's a good question. From what I've heard, man, I think the 38s are going to have a squad. They're playing, like, their main guys are playing really well. Like, we ran into them in the losers bracket championship of the No Glove A, and they were rolling. They run ruled Brachos both games of that tourney for the championship. So they're like hot right now. And then I've heard that they've picked up, like, I think Nate's playing with them. Mandarino's pitching, I think, and some other guys. So
they'll lose. So that's perfect.
I mean, a lot of times the best team on paper doesn't win this tournament, which is another reason why it's so great. So I say this, maybe I just put the kibosh on them. But
that's why I picked Cigars and Stripes. I put the kibosh on them.
I see that. Yes. Guaranteed rate's going to be good too. I can see them making a nice run. But if I had to pick one team or put money on it, I would probably roll with the 38s. They're hot right now. They've had success in the tournament before, trying to defend their title. So if I had to pick, that's probably who I'd say.
Donnie, who do you got?
Guaranteed Rate's probably got a darn good team. It's hard to bet against the Stars and Stripes boys, though, I'll tell you. I will, just because Jimmy put the hex on me, no pun intended. I'm going with Guaranteed Rate. Sweep. They're going to slaughter everybody.
Hey,
win.
You are pretty smart. You're a lot smarter than you look, my man. I'm going to say that.
Thank you. Thanks, Jimmy.
You're gonna have some. Look at this bracket again. There's gonna be some great games like early though, man. Like this bottom of the bracket especially is loaded. So like it's not just like come out late and watch the the best teams. Like you can see some really good games at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Guaranteed Rate. What time's the Guaranteed Rate game?
Guaranteed Rate plays at 10.
I like that.
Damn
my
it.
guy.
My God.
So
Pat, Jimmy, are you going to get in your last question right now?
Go ahead, Donnie. I'll let you speak.
One more thing. I wanted to thank you for letting me announce the championship game. I think that's super cool, and I'm pumped to do it. So when you texted me to do that, I never said yes so fast. So I will be announcing on the mic on the PA system on the championship game, announcing players' names. If Jimmy comes up to bat, we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. Hopefully, Pat, you'll allow me to do that.
Of course, your mic.
Thank you.
You don't mind if he live streams it, though, right?
No, absolutely not. One other thing, if I can add this, Donnie, really quick, because you reminded me. There's back when the Classic League was at Majewski, Mount Prospect, there was a sportsmanship award for my dad. And one thing, too, that is kind of neat that we're doing is so each year the award would be given to one player from the Classic League that showed good sportsmanship throughout the year. And that award would be presented at like the state tournament. If you guys remember the state tournament back in the day. I'm trying to get a hold of as many award winners as I can from that award. And we're going to honor them really quick before the championship game. So that should be cool. Perfect. It's getting some people out there, some of which are already playing in the tournament and we're coming out there anyways. But that should be kind of a nice touch too, that we're pretty excited about, and grateful to have Donnie as our PA for the championship game and for that as well. It should be a pretty cool championship environment atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree.
I can tell you one thing, Pat. He was super excited when you asked him because he told me immediately, and I just started laughing. I said it'd be great because then you could announce me in the game because I'll be playing, you'll be on the bench, right? Be on the side.
Pat and I do have an agreement though. If our team is in the championship, then we're gonna have to make some amends to that, which we plan on it, of course. But Jimmy thinks we're gonna get bounced in the first game.
That was in the works. Yes, that was
correct.
That was part of the
You know what? Maybe Donnie, maybe we can mic you up.
Oh, talk to me.
We could
talk to me.
That'd be special, like a little Sunday night baseball, Donnie on the bump or something with the mic, that could be a nice touch.
That could be sick.
Yeah. With the make sure I bring the tripod out there and maybe we can figure something out. We'll get the view behind home plate where you can see everything. That way we don't have to move the camera all the time.
Yeah. No, yeah. Whatever you guys are willing to do, whatever you guys need, just appreciate you guys and your support of the day and my family and the tournament. Yeah, it means a lot.
For sure, man. Well, we appreciate you, and that kind of leads me to my last question. It's the question I ask every guest on the show. I know that you're now stepping up into the A world. Hopefully soon. I'll probably be gone by the time maybe you get to the major world, but if it's in the next couple of years, I will be fortunate enough to see you up there. But for right now, what is the one thing in softball that you would like to change or bring to the game that's new to make the game better?
This is another good question. So a few things come to mind. I think things like this that you guys are doing and like the streaming that you guys do or the Geo does, I do think that stuff's good. It is a nice way to promote the game. So I think that if we can continue to do more of that, I think it helps, for my guys playing in the No Glove A, we got streamed a couple times, and for guys that was their first time being streamed, I know they thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
There is one thought I have, and I've been around the game for a while, and this is how it's always been, and realistically I don't see it changing, but I see all these comments about we want to keep the game growing, we want to get new young teams and stuff, but it's just every offseason it seems like there's one or two promising young A teams, and then they somewhat fall apart because their best guys go to a major team, and that's just how it is, right? Like I think all the time with college basketball right now, college football, the transfer portal, like mid-majors, they make a good run in March Madness, and then what happens? All their studs, and now their coach dips out, right? Same thing. But I guess like if we're truly trying to grow the game, and just kind of keep this thing going, we need more young teams that are willing to do that to major jump. And I just think that's only going to happen if teams stick together. Like I've mentioned it a couple of times now, and I know there's all the jokes out there after his Facebook post about Julian, but I respect the heck out of him. One, he's a great player, but two, like he stays loyal to the 38s. Like he's such a good player, and he has the opportunity to play on a lot of good teams, right? But like he stays loyal to his boys, and what do you know? The 38s just keep getting better, and now they're going to probably be forced to play some major ball next year. But I just wish that more young teams and studs on young teams would like do that. I know it's tempting, and like I said, that it's just my you're asking, so I'm telling you. It's just my 2 cents of like, I think it'd be cool to just see some of these young teams that have played together for a while just continue to take steps forward by sticking together. It's cool to see, it's fun, and I think it would just be good for the game.
Yeah, I think what you said makes a lot of sense, right? And give a lot of props to Julian. I know he was the MVP of last weekend, but all that bullshit aside, he stays with the 38s. And I think, last offseason you heard him jumping around team to team to team. I think that was just a bunch of bullshit. And if it was probably drunk or whatever when he was telling people, because he got sick of people asking him, which I get it. You know what I mean? Donnie understands that. Donnie was a hot commodity last offseason.
Correct. I was.
So,
Donnie's always a hot commodity.
Correct. Thank you, Pat. I will say it was fun to put Julian on the rumor mill for like 6 weeks in a row. We needed that content for our show, so we appreciate Julian. So thank you. We appreciate
to go through the winter months in this show it's tough. It does. Come up with content and come up with stuff. Tough. So, but we definitely appreciate Julian being drunk and going out to bars and starting rumors. So it was an incredible thing for our show. So hopefully this year we'll be able to do that again. But props to Julian, props to 38. But to your point with what you're saying, it makes a ton of sense. But a lot of those A guys have to be able to step up, or B guys, they can't be afraid to take some ass whoopings at the major level, because that's how you get better, right?
It is, yeah.
You don't get better just playing the average Joe Park tournament. You get better by playing better competition. And as time goes on, those guys get older, you guys get better, and it usually it works its way out. Trust me, So, like I said, I have socks older than Donnie, and I'm still playing, and hopefully I'll be able to play as long as I can. But my kids are getting older, and when my kids do get older, I ain't gonna be as committed as I am now. When he starts playing full-time ball, so, and then that's how the wheel circles. That's what, to your point, stay together, make those young teams better. What your boy Stevie Rodriguez this weekend, he's got a bunch of young. I saw those guys, fortunate enough to see them in the Dome over the winter. He brought out a nice young team, and I think they took second, basically in the Dome tournament. And, and then they went out and took second in the national this past weekend, right? So
they smoked my guys. Yeah, they came out and they put eight up on us on top of the first. Yeah, they're a perfect example, Jimmy, of like a good young team. They have some guys that are already good, but I think they're going to be really good. And yeah, I'm happy to see. Yeah, Steve O.C. Here says that he seconds that, and somebody Sean brought this together. I hope so, because like they're already a good team, and I think they can be really good as long as they stick together. Yeah.
So that was a really good answer to that question. So I really like that answer. That's a good piece of advice. Stay together, do what you can, right? That only helps the game moving forward, and hopefully it helps younger teams. And when as the young guys now become those medium age guys, the new young guys coming in, we can see that. So awesome job, man. I appreciate it. Before we bring on our next guest, Mr. Tom Omalley, do you have a question or anything you'd like to ask cousin Donnie or Uncle Jimmy here?
don't have a question for you guys. I just wanted to take a second to thank you guys again for having me on the show. I appreciate all that you guys are doing to support the tournament, and just support the game in general. I'd heard a lot about how there was talk shows back in the day on the radio, I think. My mom had told me stories about my dad used to like always call in and listen, and I think she said Jeff Berger would always crack my dad up, calling in and stuff. So it's cool that you guys are doing stuff just to promote the game. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys supporting my dad's tournament. I want to give one shout out just because I haven't said his name yet. Bryce from the Park District. He's new to the Park District this year, and he's totally welcomed me in this big 30th tournament with open arms. Hasn't like complained at all, and he's kind of gone above and beyond to do whatever we've needed to do to like make this day special. So I don't even know if we'll see this. I hope he does, but I do appreciate all the work that Bryce has done. He's planning on being out there like 5, 6 o'clock Saturday morning to make sure everything's good to go. So if you guys see Bryce from the Park District, shoot him a quick thanks because he's done a lot to help me out to make sure that Saturday goes as smooth as possible. So I do appreciate him as well.
Kudos to Bryce for sure. And I want to leave you on this because I think it sums up what your father's all about, right, with Mickey. So Mickey Balestri Sr. had said he had many great games against your dad in the late 80s and early 90s. Medals at Forest Park, USSSA, Major State, Major Nationals. Great player, great guy, Hall of Famer. So there you go, Nick, father. It's a pretty cool comment, pretty cool thing, pretty good thing to say about your father. It's always good to hear those things. So, Pat, once again, man, nice job putting everything together. I'm excited for Saturday. I hope weather stays good, everything's well, and we'll see you Saturday. And if cousin Donnie's not there and he blows us off, we'll come up with a game plan for you, my man. All right? He's got a new dog now, so the dog runs his life.
George Bliss. That's the dog's name.
Georgie.
Thank you, Pat.
Cool. Yeah, Donnie, Jimmy, thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, Pat. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Donnie.
Jim.
So that was awesome to hear from Pat. I think it seems like he's got things back on track out there, and I think it's going to be an awesome Saturday, and especially after the previous 2 days, be a hell of a weekend. Hell of a week, basically day to top off an incredible weekend of softball.
I agree 100%. What a fantastic weekend. I mean, Saturday is going to be a long day if you're out there from the 9 a.m. game to, I think the championship game is scheduled for like 8 p.m. So going to have a lot of people out there for the majority of the day. It's going to be a really cool day. It's an awesome tournament. I've played in it 2 years in a row now, and it's awesome to see how many people stick around and watch till the end. Last year was pretty crowded during the championship game. And some really good teams, good players, and it's the day after Papa Hop. So people understand the importance of this tournament because they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't stick around all night at Papa Hops and get drunk out there at the field, which is so easy to do, and then go play in Terry Moran if it wasn't something big, right? So kind of take that into consideration.
Well, Donnie, you mentioned Papa Hops.
Yep.
Our next individual we're bringing on is a Southside man. I have the privilege of gambling with him every March. We always betting on March Madness together. We always have a good time in the pool. He does eat Uncle Jimmy's burgers and hot dogs with the best of them. So got to give him some credit there. He is a man who's been winning tournaments on the South Side. I don't know if you've heard, but like Crush has won, I think, the 3 major events that they've had on the South Side of Chicago. The last 3 tournaments I heard they've won. They won this past weekend in Oak Lawn. They won a couple in, I believe, Mount Greenwood. I'm sure Omalley will tell us a little bit about that. But I had asked them to come on because they were, he was a part of the Firecracker this weekend. We want to promote softball. So, they were in the Dave Padilla tournament. Dave's excuse my language, but Dave's a knucklehead, right? We know Dave. I give Dave a lot of shit, but, Dave means well, as you know.
Tell us how you really feel, Jim. Let it all hang out, my man. Come on.
Well, I mean, he's got some 7 staples on the back of his head to show how we feel about him. But Dave is my guy, and he always means well. We love Dave. So I'm going to go over to Mr. Omalley now. I'm going to bring on Omalley. Let's see what we got here.
I can't believe you brought up the Staples.
Hey, look at this guy.
That's messed up, man.
What's up, guys?
Look at our boy, Mr. Tom Omalley, joining the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. Welcome, Mr. Tom Omalley. How are you, sir? You look like you just got off a 15-hour shift. You all right, man?
No, I had a day off today. No
Sunday
softball. We're all good today.
Yeah. I see you're sporting a nice Papa Hops hat there.
Oh, yeah. Last year's hat.
Ah, my man. So you've been telling me, I know I've been hearing a lot about this Crush team, and I believe this is, quote me if I'm wrong, but I think this is your second year or first year playing with them, because this is the first year. Am I correct on that, or?
Second year I've been playing with them. We started out, I was playing with some elevator guys in the Armor Park League.
Okay.
And our 1 year in it, we won it. And then we weren't able to get back in the next year, just guys with work and kids. So the Crush kids, they were like, hey, do you want to come pitch for me? I'm like, all right. So
yeah.
It wasn't hard to persuade you to get out there, was it?
No, not at all.
Did they offer you a case? Would they offer you a burger? Would they offer you?
Kelly's Bar after every win. It's a nice spot.
All right. I like it. I like it. I like it. So
I want to say before we start the interview, Jim, Tom Omalley has a heck of a jump shot. I got the privilege of playing with Tom a couple times over the winter. We ran 5-on-5s. Can't leave the kid open. He'll burn you.
I appreciate that, Donnie.
So let me little side note on Mr. Omalley. Okay, we go to this bar in Arizona. It's called Boondocks. All right, this man here and Mr. Anthony. Okay, they play Papa Shot, and I think Anthony. I think you were the winner this year. Anthony was the winner before, or Anthony, because I know Anthony's really good.
And Anthony is definitely just a step above. Yeah. Julian Gutierrez got hot one night and likes to say he's better than us, but definitely.
We know that's not true.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you a note. I second his jump shot because I've seen him shoot Papa Shot.
A burner.
Yeah. Definitely a quicker release than Papa Shot.
Very, very good. Very good point. So here's the thing that I want to ask you, Tom, because I don't think many people that watch our show even know who Crush is. There was obviously a Crush that Mickey Balestri ran back in the day that, they've been gone. Now Crush, I believe Greg Aridia's son, Joey, he started this team about maybe a handful of years ago, and they run on Armor Park down in the city. They're from the Bridgeport area, if I'm correct, right?
Correct. Of them? Yeah, most of them are actually Canaryville. Joey's Bridgeport, Rocco Bridgeport. There's a couple Bridgeporters, but I think most are Canaryville right now.
So what is the league they play in other than they only play in Armor, or is there another league?
So Armor didn't have a league this year.
Okay.
So they jumped on with Tom Gutierrez's Savage team.
Okay.
Most of the guys did at Kennedy Park on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
So they're getting some experience up there.
Nice. So does Tom also play with you guys on Crush when you guys have Crush?
He comes out every once in a while. He played this past weekend.
Okay.
Now
I know why you're winning. Okay.
He had a big weekend. First game 9:00 in the morning. By 9:02, he was already thrown out.
Tom is so good for that.
But
I don't believe that at all.
He came back strong. He finished the day like 12 for 14. Got picked off at third base. It was good stuff.
All right. I mean, now we're working. It kind of sounds like me a little bit, Donnie, huh? Getting thrown out of the games, coming back.
2 minutes into the day is hilarious.
He probably got in at 8:30 in the morning. That's why he's off.
That's great. So, Tom, I played against you a little bit. When you actually played with Splash, the last time I played against you was in A Glove Nationals, I want to say. it was toward the end of the day. But since then, I haven't seen you out, at the AM major level. Now you're with the Crush team. You're putting a lot of time and effort into teaching and managing these guys, and maybe they're learning a thing or two from you. What do you want to see out of this team kind of going forward? What's a goal for you, and then what would be the goal for the team?
So the thing with Crush right now is they got a handful of guys that are $3.99, different shifts, different days off. They got a couple guys that work for the White Sox. So that the traveling for the league games is just not in the cards for them right now. That's a team that definitely wants to stay together and grow together. Those guys probably been playing since they were 16, 17 up at Donovan and McGuane in Bridgeport.
Okay.
So they've been around a while. They just right now is not the time for them to get up to Forest Park or Melrose. But I think in the next couple of years, that's something that they're gonna try to do.
They would compete 100% at that A level at Forest Park. They would do fantastic in that league. That team is good.
Right. They a couple of them are coming out to Carroll Stream with Savage.
Okay.
So they'll get their feet wet there. I know they played out in during COVID out in Highland.
Yeah.
They're not a fan of the gloves, but they're gonna come out that weekend.
Nice.
So you guys have played, I believe, 3 tournaments on the south side, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
2 in Mount Greenwood, 1 in Oaklawn, correct?
Yep.
You guys won all 3, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
Good pitching.
you guys, why don't we go back to the first tournament? Who did you guys beat in the championship? Do you remember?
So that was the Sobachek tournament. In the semifinals, we played Mush, and we were down 7-1, and came back and beat them in extra innings.
Wow.
And then in the championship of that tournament, I don't even remember who we played.
Did you play Jake's team? I know you played Jake's team and won on the championships.
Sorry, that we played Chaos. Yeah, Jake and Paulie Klein's team there.
Okay.
We there was a little rain delay.
Yeah.
I think we were winning like 2-1 in the second inning. Then there was a rain delay, so guys went over to Lawler's. Probably an hour later, we all got going again, and we ended up going up like 7-3 and finished off. We won 7-6.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was a big win because all those guys on Chaos, those are all my boys, all guys my age, and they just haven't jumped on with the young kids yet.
You're just a lot smarter than them. That's what
Right.
I'm trying to say. So,
I'm ahead of the curve.
So this past weekend, you played in the Firecracker. As I don't know if you heard before you came on, Dave Padilla's been hit with some staples in his head and recently. How is Dave doing, by the way? Because I haven't had a chance to see him in person.
Dave's great. I don't think he was hurt very badly there. His mind's all there still. He's all good.
I mean, like I always say, Dave means he does a lot of good things for softball. He means well. Donnie's like laughing over here.
Yeah, that shit cracks me up when you say he's got staples in his head because
He does.
you would do you would get on him about that.
So, but I know from what I saw, he definitely runs a good tournament.
Yep.
Kornikowski, I got to put this up there. So Timmy says he wasn't that sharp before he got and then your boy Gutierrez, who got thrown out in the first inning, says he's still slow as hell. But we kid Dave because we like Dave, and I wish Dave would be able to put a tournament together with a lot of the major players because I know how much it means to Dave.
Right.
Dave tries to do what's well for softball in a lot of ways. sometimes he comes off a little harsh, which I give, and he'll tell you, I'll be the first one to call him and say, dude, you suck, or this blew, or this whatever. But I have that relationship with Dave where hopefully he respects me, my honesty and just my opinion as he would everybody else. And I think he does. He does respect everyone's opinion. So tell me about how the weekend went, the tournament went. I know it was a single limit, or it was a 1-day tournament, which can't ask for much more than that. That was awesome, right? So
12 teams, double elimination. I think the draw went really well because probably the top 4 teams were all separated, and then the final 4 they matched up. So it kind of ran like it should have.
Sure.
We had a scare in our first game. We were playing Born Divine. Our pitcher just couldn't find a strike. He had about 7 walks.
Was that you?
That happens.
Okay.
Could have been, yeah. But we had like a 10-2 lead, and Born Divine got hot. Then we added an error or 2, and they tied it up. But we turned a couple double plays to finish some innings, and then we scored like 4 in like the 10th or 11th. Squeak by.
Nice.
You played an oops team in the final that I saw was pretty much the old smack out guys with a mixture of some younger kids. Is that right?
Yes. It was. There weren't many young kids with them. They had their normal. It was CJ, Nico, Brett,
Joe
Pikes, Joe Wagos. Yeah. They had Chapo was playing with them. They had a nice little squad. They jumped on us early in the winners bracket championship. In the first inning, we had a couple errors. They ended up scoring 5, and then we were down 7-1 in that game. And then in the second or third inning, we were down 7-1, and we ended up winning 12-7, I believe.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You guys love coming back like from deep deficits on this team.
That's the thing with this Crush team is like they don't get down. They just keep pounding the ball, and defensively they're very good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Outfield is super fast kids with really good arms, right? I know that we played them at Harrison. We played them they're in the fall league at Harrison. That's how I know a lot of those guys.
Right.
Everything in the outfield is an out, and don't try to take an extra base, you'll get thrown out.
Right.
I had one more question for you tonight, Tom.
Yeah.
You have a nickname in the softball world. I had to do some research on this.
Yeah.
And I believe your nickname is Shovel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Where does the origin of this nickname kind of come from? Where is this from?
So my brother-in-law, when I first started playing, he brought me out to Cal City and Hegwish. That's where I first started playing with Team Orange, which then combined with Hammer the Clam. So that's how I started with them. But my first game out there, they put me at catcher. I was like 18 or 19. And there was one play where I had 2 plays at home on the same play. Both were one-hop throws that I had to scoop and tag. And we got 2 outs out at home. So then I'm like, we should probably put this kid at first base. And just I was pretty good scooping, and they started calling me Shovel. I don't know. And it just stuck.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And an unnamed source said you'd get embarrassed. I don't know why you'd get embarrassed about talking about it.
It just didn't flow at the time. Now it's just normal. And then
go ahead.
At that time, I couldn't hit at all. And then I started working a little more hitting, started getting a little better, and Eric Panic calls me Rake now. So just
So you have all the gardening tools on your side, is what it sounds like.
exactly.
As long as you get the hose, that's all that matters. The same unnamed source, I won't mention his name. You said you like to fall asleep at the bar. Now, I don't know why you would tell me this.
I like to fall asleep anywhere.
That's a good point. I've seen him sleep, Donnie.
Standing up, sitting down, doesn't matter. Sleep to me. I don't need to be drunk. I don't need to be. If I can catch a couple minutes here and there, I'll take it.
I love that. Jimmy, that's all I had. Go ahead.
You know what I find really funny tonight, O'Malley?
What's that?
Is that Donnie actually did his homework for a
Yeah.
lot of the guests. Normally he comes on and he's just like, he asks them the same. Dude, I'm impressed with my cousin Donnie tonight. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
He came ready to play tonight. It must
Yeah.
be the Papa Hops week. It must be just he's all fired up for Terry Moran. You're fired up for it. He gets to play with me on Thursday with our team over in the Nicky Lopez tournament, so it should be entertaining. But O'Malley, back to you, because I know that you've played, and I've got two questions.
Yeah.
We'll kind of end it there. We know that you play a lot on the south side for softball, and you play in the Mount Greenwoods, you've played in the Kennedys, you've played kind of all over the place. Are you ever looking to get back into like the A or major ball? And if not, maybe can you speak to on why maybe some of these kids on the south side choose not to play major A? I know that some of the major guys like Stretch and some of those guys who used to play major ball or A ball now don't want to play it anymore because they want to, they say stay close to home. But is there another reason, do you think, to your point, of why maybe some of these kids or guys or even guys in their 30s and 40s that play out of Mount Greenwood, Kennedy, that just don't ever leave the parks over there to play major ball? Because we always talk about the major level. The commitment now is, if you're a good player, you could play on a major team nowadays. It's not like it was 15 years ago where you had to show up to every single tournament, or every single game. And unfortunately, we have major players and major teams missing players all the time. So my question to you is, why do you think a lot of those guys maybe don't want to play against the best competition, or maybe they just don't want to have the time to go? What's your reason behind that? What do you think?
I think it literally is just the time and the commitment to it. Some guys are just like guys like you are just willing to do that. You're able to manage with your family life and still be able to play at the highest level with the travel and everything like that. I'll drive anywhere to play. Someone calls me to play, I got nothing going on. Yeah, I'm in. The thing with the major ball, with Papa Hops coming up this weekend, if you're a good player, but not like the top 3 on a major team, a lot of these guys don't want to be labeled major just for Papa Hops itself. You know what I mean? Because if I'm running a team, I'm going to try to pick up their 2 major limit, so you pick up top 2 major players from a team. But if you're a bottom guy, you're going to get left out and not be able to play in the tournament.
Yeah,
Which it's a great night, and it's tough that it has to be that way. But
yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, so you what you're saying is a lot of these guys who play maybe in their late 20s, early 30s will sit out just for Papa Hops and not play on a major A team, so that way they can play Papa Hops.
I think there are some that do that. Yeah, I think the younger generation, some reason they don't want to commit to the travel, and they'd rather go to Windy City Smokeout this weekend, or all the concerts, and it's just
You're exactly right. It's just different generation now, 100%.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it does make a lot of sense, and this is my follow-up question to that one is: do you think if we put a major tournament in Kennedy Park next year, do you think that the community, or do you think that the people that play the neighborhood ball would play in the tournament, number one? And number two, do you think that they would support it out there? Would they like to have those major teams come out to Kennedy Park and show the support of the community to play a tournament that everyone can get in? Because now we're in their backyard.
I honestly think they would. I think there's a lot of players on the south side that are extremely good that have never done the major route, and they just stay local and they're happy with that. And they're more than capable of playing that. But you've had guys, Alex and Billy Smith, that had played at the high level, and now Al's back on the south side, 2 kids, work. He just likes staying local now. The ability to travel is just not in the cards for him.
Yep. No, it makes a lot of sense. Here, my only thing is if we were to do this and do the 1-day tournament in Kennedy Park, single elimination, of course, because we're not going to do the 4 days. We're not about that. But if we did a 1-day major tournament in Kennedy or Mount Greenwood, Kennedy would be probably cool. It's just tough to get to for a lot of people. But either way, if we were to run that and do that for that 1 day, some of those teams, unfortunately, a lot of those major guys wouldn't be able to play on those teams that they play with at Kennedy Park. I mean, obviously, we'll leave it up to the player. They can pick or choose who they want to play with. But do you think it would affect some of those teams? Because I know there's a handful of guys, maybe a couple guys on each team that play at the major level, that play on some of those.
Johnny Ryan, PJ Raines, all those guys. Yeah, I don't know what they would do with that. That's the other would be their tough part is you take some of the better players from the actual park team and they're playing with their major team now that their team's not as good as they would be.
Right. I'm just thinking out loud. It's something that I think would be cool because the one excuse I always hear is that those guys don't want to leave the neighborhood. So if we bring it to them, maybe would they play if we ran if I ran something 1 day under the lights, end at night, starting mid afternoon, whatever it is. Because how many fields they have at Kennedy? They have what?
They use 3 for their league.
Yep.
They have a 4th field that they use for Papa Hops. So you could use it. They use it for their tournaments up there. So you could use 4.
So you'd have 4 fields all at one field. I mean, depending on how many teams we get, I mean, I don't know how many of the major teams would do it, depending on when we do it.
Right.
But let's say we do it one Saturday or Friday night. We could even copy the Papa Hops and do it on a Friday, but that would be tough. But just say you do it on a Saturday at Kennedy Park in August between, maybe No Glove National and Nationals. And maybe you run something on a Friday night or a Saturday out there. I think it'd be cool. And I think it'd be cool to bring some of those big teams to Kennedy Park.
Yeah, or even if you did it talking next year, if you did it in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Similar to the Matt Dozen's tournament out in Tinley.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like a kickoff because those guys just go right into league play. They don't have any tournaments or that they play in on the south side before league play, so you might even get more there.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. I mean, you have the Westchester tournament, which is always the 3rd weekend in May, whatever those dates fall. It's usually between the 16th and 20th of every month, that month. Maybe if you ran something the week after Maddie, or maybe 2 weeks after Maddie's tournament, which would be a week before or 2 weeks before the Westchester tournament.
Right.
So there might be something we'd have to look into. I just don't know how the weather's going to be because beginning of May is a little cold. But it'd be interesting.
Yeah, so, you definitely get a couple of the young teams. Crush would get in it, which would be like Savage, Crush, if you're just using the league teams. Yeah. Pac-Man is a good young team.
Very good.
Yeah. Then Jug-Offs, they're a solid team up at Kennedy. Ignition. There's a lot of good teams up there.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can somehow support the Kennedy Park. I know, obviously, Papa Hops, Leah Hopkins, all these guys that run that Papa Hops, they do an incredible job, not only for the community, but also for the game of softball. So, we're going to have them on the show on Tuesday talking about the Papa Hops and how it started and what they do and what they look for every single every single year. So I think it's an awesome thing, and let's continue to support the South Side of Chicago. So for me, I only have one more question, Donnie. I don't. Do you have any more left?
One more thing. I got one more fan question that just came into my inbox here. So it reads, ask T.O. if he would trade all these Crush trophies to not go one and done versus Mint on Friday.
There's no way we go one and done versus Mint on Friday.
Perfect.
Mint is not a first round team. So
yeah. I like it. Who are you playing with in Papa Hops this year?
FDS.
Okay, FDS. Got it. Okay,
cool.
Pete
Carrig, who used to run Carl, he runs the FDS team.
Okay. Very cool.
So we got a handful of the Crush kids. Our major players are Mark Manizzi and Manzella.
Oh, nice. My God, yeah. He's pumped, man. He's texting me. He's so pumped to play in this, and it's anybody that's going out there. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, and
Fat, drunk, and
luckily,
stupid.
Say that again.
Fat, drunk, and stupid. I love the name.
Yes, and luckily we got a good draw where we're at Kennedy Park to start. So win or lose, we're where we need to be.
You have a good parking spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before I get to my last question, the man of the night, Mr. Dave Padilla. We're gonna call him Staples. So Staples goes ahead and says that, Jimmy, I have a date for you. We'd like to talk about the South Suburbs Major Championship Tournament. So Staples is already calling it out and saying that he's got a date for this tournament. So hopefully, I'll talk to Staples offline, and we'll definitely get a date for something out there. I think it'd be cool, just something different to throw in the mix. So,
Yeah,
that is messed up, brother. That's messed up, brother. Staples. That's great. Holy shit, that's good.
Yeah,
Staples. That could be my dog's name.
That is a dog's name. But let me get into my last question, because Omalley looks like he needs a beer or something there.
He needs a nap.
I need a nap. Yeah.
There you go. So, Omalley, you've been playing softball for a while now. You've been bouncing around. You've been doing different things. We always talk about improving the game, growing softball, doing what we do to enhance the 16-inch game. Tell me something that you would change about 16-inch softball right now, or something that you would bring in to softball, maybe that doesn't happen or that's not going on right now, to improve 16-inch softball across the board.
I think it's what we've just been talking about is a huge thing, is getting the South Side more involved with the competitive major and A tournaments and leagues. I don't know how to do it per se, but there's a way to get stuff close to home here. You might get guys willing to travel more often if there's more stuff on the South Side. I know they have stuff at Oak Lawn, and that's kind of dwindled out, I think. But I think bringing it here is the best way to start, at least.
So Mount Greenwood has a pretty big league. Now, you mentioned Mount Greenwood and Kennedy.
Yeah.
Mount Greenwood's a little easier to get to, kind of right off of 127th and Cicero if you're coming off the highway.
Right.
And a lot of angles, you know what I mean? So
right.
You're on off of 111th and Pulaski is kind of where the tournament is. Obviously, maybe we could partner with Shane over there with his new bar going to be opening, down the road. They're moving Lawlers down the street. I'm sure he'll be open in the next couple months, if not, and then at least in the next 4 months. So tell us, Tom Gutierrez says if we did move the tournament to Christina or Mount Greenwood fields, we'd have access to 10 fields with short walks between fields. It does make a good point, right? Because I think that, this way, if we do get an overabundance amount of teams, it would be pretty cool. Those St. Christina fields, I used to play on them in my younger days all the time. When they used to have the Firecracker, the 4th of July tournament out there,
Right.
You know, Walter, me, Moji, Chuck, the Bin Squad, and we would play every almost 4th of July tournament. And, you know, we're fortunate enough to win some in front of, you know, 400 or 500 people sitting around watching, drinking beer. I think is an awesome thing. So, you know, the way you guys support those final games is what I want to bring into the major game. And I think if we were to do that in that neighborhood, I think the major guys really would be able to see what it looks like firsthand.
Right. Yeah. The only thing with using Mount Greenwood and that, it's Chicago Park District, right? So the field quality is not going to be the best that you're hoping for. Papa Hops does a lot of work on their own getting those fields up to par for their tournament. So
Yeah.
there have to be some probably outside work going into that. But St. Christina, they have 3 fields that they take really good care of. They hold water well there. They're more of that the gravel type field, rather than the dirt. But we use the Mount Greenwood fields for every tournament, and then it just trickles down, and we finish at St. Christina. But Dirty 38, they came out south for it was either the Sobe tournament. Yeah, I think it was the Sobotech tournament. They came out for. So they're willing to travel. I know Savage. We went up to the north side and played in the first responders tournament last year. So I think it's a good start, guys willing to go. Guys from south willing to go north coming south.
Well, maybe we could call it the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie tournament. And
I like
we'll make it the first year next year. We'll pick a date. I'll get with Mr. Dave Padilla and Staples.
your guy.
Yeah, I'll get with Staples. And we just lost him. I think his phone died. But
my phone is also about to die.
Or he fell asleep. So
my phone's on 2%, Jim. We're clawing our way to the end of this. So go ahead. Whatever you want to say, my man.
I was just going to say I wanted to thank Tom for joining us. It looks like he just hopped off. I think his phone died or something happened. But just wanted to say thank you, obviously, for joining us. I know a lot of times, you know, playing on the South Side and doing what he does, it is a lot of commitment too. You know, it's not just the major A level. There's a lot of commitment at those park leagues and things like that too. And especially for a guy like Tom, who's played both levels, you know, Hammer the Clam was one of the better teams as well. So definitely pretty cool for him to join us tonight. I think to talk about the Crush guys, it's always awesome to hear young teams coming up through the grapevine. Definitely a cool thing. And then what did you think about Tom Omalley before we hop off tonight?
I like Tommy. Tommy's always been a super nice guy to me, and I played against him a little bit. Never really got the chance to play with him, I don't think. I met him through Johnny Denton, who's a close friend of mine. But yeah, Tommy's a super nice guy. He's always been cool, and he stays on the south side. I'm kind of on the north side, so I don't see him a whole lot. But when I do, it's always hello and in good graces. So Robbie did notice, like, I got a little bit of a mustache growing. I cannot stop laughing at Staples. I don't know what it is, dude, but that got me good. So
Staples.
with you saying that, I've been laughing my butt off about that. I'm trying to hide my laughter.
That's okay.
You got me good. That was nice.
Before we let everyone go, and remember, this Tuesday night, we're going to have another special edition of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. We're doing 2 shows this week. Tuesday night, we're going to have Liam Hopkins on from the Papa Hops group, which he'll be able to tell us the history of Papa Hops, talk about what the good and the bad has been throughout the years, which is an awesome thing always to hear how it started and where it's gotten to today. You know, let's face it, it draws the most people in the game today. So absolutely. I want to pick his brain left and right, which is an awesome thing, right? And then we're also going to be joined by Zoe. Zoe's going to help us with a lot of the Southside teams for lines, quadrants, and things like that. We're going to kind of do our little flavor that you and I always do with the bracket. So we will have the bracket printed, and we're going to go through those lines, and we're going to see if we can come up with some things. And I know there's some individuals on the South Side that also do money odds, so which is really cool too. So we'll get some insight on that. Hopefully Zoe will have some insight on what's going on out there. I'm sure hopefully by Tuesday night that'll be out. And if not, I'd like to get one of those individuals on. Maybe that could definitely do that. So Omalley said yes, phone did die. So
do you need my address for his appearance fee? Yeah, Jimmy's gonna send you a check in the mail. Everybody gets one.
Yeah, tell him I'm mailing him a Miller Lite. So it's on the
Jimmy, tonight was fun, man. My phone is about to die as well. So
yeah.
It was a good time. I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you on Tuesday for our next show, and then I'll see you Thursday for our tournament win.
Yes, we will, my man. So thank you, everyone, for joining the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap. We will see you guys Tuesday night. I believe we're starting at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, but we will definitely send a post out for that as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.